Hey guys, this is Easy to Read. I'm Yashwant. Today we will be learning about interior angles, exterior angles, complementary angles, supplementary angles, adjacent angles, vertical angles, and congruent angles. Let's start with interior angle. Interior angles are the angles formed within or inside a shape. In this figure, angle ACB is an interior angle, ABC is an interior angle, and BCA is also an interior angle because they are all angles that are inside a shape. Here, the interior angles are ABC, BCD, DEF, EFA, FAB, and EDC because they are all inside a shape. Let's draw a figure. These angles are all interior angles because they're all formed inside the shape. Let's draw another. This is an interior angle. This is also an interior angle. This is also an interior angle because they are all formed inside the shape. This, and this is also an interior angle because these are all formed inside the shape. Now let's move on to exterior angle. The exterior angle are the angles formed outside a shape, or a line extended from the next side. Example, in this figure, AEB and CED are exterior angles because they are formed on the outside of a shape. Let's draw a figure. Now let's point out the exterior angles here. An exterior angle is an angle that is formed between any two sides, or it's a line extended from the next side. This side is extended, so this would be an exterior angle. On this side, this line is also extended, so this is also an exterior angle. This line is also extended, so this would be an exterior angle. Now let's draw another figure. The exterior angles here are this, here, and here, because these two sides make this angle, these two sides make this angle, and these two sides make this angle. Now let's move on to positive and negative angles. A positive angle is an angle that goes counterclockwise, and a negative angle goes clockwise. In this figure, angle ABC is a positive angle because it goes counterclockwise. While in this figure, this is a negative angle because this goes clockwise. let's draw a positive angle. This is a positive angle because this goes counterclockwise. This angle would be 69 degrees. Now let's draw a negative angle. This is a negative angle because this goes clockwise. You would write this as a negative 69 degrees. Now let's move on to complementary angles. When two angles are said to be complementary angles, when the sum of the measure of two angles is equal to 90 degrees. Example, in this figure, AB1D and AB2C are complementary angles because both of these add up to 90 degrees. In this figure, FG1J and FG2J are complementary angles because both of these angles equal to 90 degrees. Let's look at some examples of complementary angles. DF is 90 degrees and DGE is 50 degrees. We have to find the value of EGF. Now, since we know that DGF is 90 degrees and DGE is 50 degrees, we just subtract 90 and 50 degrees, which gives us 40 degrees. In this angle, we know that DGF is 90 degrees and EGF is 10 degrees. So now to find DGE is 90 subtract 10, which gives us 80 degrees. So that means DGE is 80 degrees. In this angle, DGF, as we know, is 90 degrees. DGE is 5 degrees. Now all we need to do is subtract 90 and 5, which gives us 85 degrees. So EGF is 85 degrees. In this angle, we know that DGF is 90 degrees and EGF is 65 degrees. We're trying to find out what's DGE. DGE is equal to 25 degrees because 90 minus 65 gives us 25 degrees. Let's look at more examples. In this figure, FGA is 30 degrees and AGE is 90 degrees. We're trying to find out what is FGA. FGA is equal to 60 degrees because 90 minus 30 degrees gives us 60 degrees. We know that FGE is equal to 35 degrees and AGE is equal to 90 degrees. Now to find AGF, we subtract 90 and 35, which gives us 55 degrees. In this figure, we know that HIJ is 45 degrees and HIF is 90 degrees. To find out JIF, we just subtract 90 and 45, which also gives us 45 degrees. Now, let's draw a figure. Now we drew this figure. Let's name these lines. A, B, C, D, E, and F. And let's name this middle point X. Now let's find the complementary angle of BXC. A complementary angle of BXC is CXD, because they are both 45 degrees, and 45 degrees plus 45 degrees gives us 90 degrees. Another complementary angle of BXC is EXD, because this is also equal to 45 degrees and this is also equal to 45 degrees. So they both add up to 90 degrees. And FXD is a complementary angle of BXC, because FXC is 45 degrees and BXC is also 45 degrees. And if you add those together, they give us 90 degrees. Now let's move on to supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up together to form 180 degrees. Example, in this figure, ACB and ACD are supplementary angles because they both add up to 180 degrees. And here, EGF and HGE are supplementary angles because both of them add up to 180 degrees. Let's look at some examples of supplementary angles. We know that DGE is 60 degrees and DGF is 180 degrees. To find out EGF, we subtract them because DGE and EGF add up to 180 degrees. 180 degrees minus 60 degrees gives us 120 degrees. Here, XWZ is 180 degrees, and we know that YWZ is 120 degrees. To find out XWY, we subtract 180 degrees and 120 degrees, which gives us 60 degrees. Here, we know that BCD is 35 degrees and ACD is 180 degrees. To find out ACB, we subtract 180 degrees and 35 degrees, which gives us 145 degrees. Here, EGF is 60 degrees and DGF is 180 degrees. To find out DGE, we subtract 180 and 68 degrees, which gives us 112 degrees. And here, this shows that two angles that add up to 180 degrees is a supplementary angle. Here, we know that BGC is 30 degrees and BGE is 180 degrees. To find out CGE, we have to subtract 180 degrees and 30 degrees, which gives us 150 degrees. In this part, DGA gives us 180 degrees, DGA, and DGC gives us 30 degrees. Now, to find out CGA, we subtract 180 degrees and 30 degrees, which gives us 150 degrees. Let's draw a diagram. Now let's name them. A, B, C, and D. Now let's name this point Y. We know that all of these angles are 90 degrees. And we're trying to figure out which angle is complementary to A, Y, and B. CYB is a complementary angle to AYB because they both add up to 180 degrees. DYC is a supplementary angle because AYB and DYC add up to 180 degrees. And DYA is also a complementary angle of AYB because they both add up to 180 degrees. Now, let's learn about adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that have a common side and a common vertex, but they do not overlap. Example, ADB and BDC are adjacent angles because they share the same side B and they share the same vertex D. In this example, ADC and BDC are not adjacent angles, even though they have a common side C, they have the common side C and the common vertex D. ADC is overlapping BDC. So that's why these are not adjacent angles. Now let's look at some examples. In this figure, we know that DGE is 60 degrees. We know that DGF, this whole value, is 140 degrees. To find out this angle, EGF, we subtract 140 degrees and 60 degrees, which gives us 180 degrees. In this example, we know that XWY is 30 degrees and YWZ is 120 degrees. We're trying to find out XWZ. Now instead of subtracting, we're adding because we're finding this whole part, but we only know this angle and this angle. So we subtract 120 degrees and 20 degrees, which gives us 140 degrees. And here, BCD gives us 35 degrees and ACB gives us 65 degrees. Once again, we're going to add because we're trying to figure out the whole value of ACD. 35 degrees and 65 degrees gives us 100 degrees. In this figure, EGF is 68 degrees and DGF is 135 degrees. Now here we're subtracting because we don't know what DGE is. Now we subtract 135 degrees and 68 degrees, which gives us 67 degrees. Now let's point out which are adjacent angles. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles because they share this common vertex and this side. Angle 3, 4 are adjacent angles, 9, 10 are adjacent angles, 11, 12 are adjacent angles, 5, 6 are adjacent angles, 7, 8 are adjacent angles, 15 and 16 are adjacent angles because they all share the same vertex and the same side. Let's look at another diagram. Angle 1, 2 are adjacent angles, 3, 4 are adjacent angles, 5, 6 are adjacent angles, and 7, 8 are adjacent angles. Let's draw an example. Now let's name the points and lines. This is A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's name this point X and this point Y. To find out which angles are adjacent to B, Y, D, we first see which has the same vertex. B, Y, X has the same vertex but doesn't have the same side. So this is not an adjacent angle. But DYX is an adjacent angle because it shares the same point Y and the same side D. So this angle is adjacent to D, Y, and X. Another adjacent angle is A, Y, and B because they share the same vertex Y and the same side B. So this is A, Y, and B. Now let's find out what angles are adjacent to F, X, C. Angles that are adjacent to FXC is CXE because they have the same common vertex and same side, which is C. So EXC is an adjacent angle, and so is FXY because FXY has the same vertex X and the same side F. Now let's head on to vertical angles. Vertical angles are the angles opposite each other when two lines intersect. Vertical means they share the same vertex corner point, but they do not share the same side, and vertical angles will always be equal. Both pairs of vertical angles, 4 angles altogether, will always add up to 360 degrees. Example, AC are vertical angles because they share the same point but not same side. And angle A and C is equal to each other. Angle B and D are also vertical angles because B and D share the same common vertex but no common side. And BD are also equal to each other. In this figure, angle 1, 2, 3, and 4 gives us 360 degrees. Angle 1 is 145 degrees, and angle 2 is 35 degrees. That means that angle 3 must also be 145 degrees, and angle 4 also must be 35 degrees. In this vertical angle, 1, 2, 3, 4 also gives us 360 degrees. And angle 1, 3 are vertical angles because they are both 90 degrees. And angle 2, 4 are also both adjacent angles because they are both 90 degrees. Here, angle 1, 2, 3, 4 is equal to 360 degrees. Angle 1 is equal to 20 degrees. That means angle 3 should also be equal to 20 degrees. Angle 2 is equal to 160 degrees. That means also angle 4 is equal to 160 degrees. In this figure, angle 1 is equal to 135 degrees. So that means angle 3 should also equal to 135 degrees. Angle 4 is equal to 45 degrees. That means angle 2 should be also equal to 45 degrees. And all of these angles add up to 360 degrees. Now let's classify which are vertical angles. Angle 1, 4 are vertical angles because they have the common endpoint but no common side. Angle 2, 3 are vertical angles. 5, 8, and 6, 7. Now let's draw a diagram. Now we drew the diagram. Let's name all the lines and points. This is point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And let's name this point X. Now, to find the vertical angle of AXB, we need to know what is opposite of AXB. FXE is the vertical angle of AXB because their opposite had the same endpoint but no common side. Now let's find the vertical angle of GXH. The vertical angle of GXH is DXC because they are opposite from each other, have the same endpoint X but no same side. Now let's learn about congruent angles. Congruent angles are two angles that have the same measure of angles. The symbol of congruence is this. Example, in this figure, ABC and EFG are congruent angles because they are both 50 degrees. In this figure, angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent angles because they are both vertical angles. In this figure, angle 1, 3, 4, and 2 are congruent angles because they are all 90 degrees. Now, let's draw a figure. Now let's name the lines and points. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And let's name the point X. Now let's find the congruent angle of AXB. A congruent angle of AXB is BXC because they are both 45 degrees. You would write this as AXB is congruent to BXC. Now let's see another example. Let's find a congruent angle to AXH. A congruent angle to AXH can either be HXG or the other angles. I'm going to choose HXG. You would write this as AXH is congruent to HXG. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye!